In this video, I'll be talking about hernia, its causes, composition, types, classification, examination, risk factors, and treatment. So, what exactly a hernia is? A hernia is defined as an abnormal protrusion of a viscus or a part of a viscus through an opening, artificial or natural, with a sac covering it. Etiology. The main factors causing a hernia are weakness of the abdominal muscles and increased abdominal pressure. A hernia is composed of the sac, covering of the sac, and contents of the sac. The sac. It is a diverticulum of the peritoneum and is made of three parts: mouth, neck, and body. So, zooming into this picture, this is the sac, this is the mouth of the sac, this is the neck of the sac, and this is the body of the sac. The coverings. The coverings of the sac are divided from the layers of the abdominal wall through which the sac passes. The contents. Contents of the sac can be omentum, intestine, portion of circumference of the intestine, portion of the bladder, ovary with or without fallopian tubes, Meckel's diverticulum, two loops of small intestine in the manner of W. This is also called as Madel's hernia, and fluid. So this is the picture of Madel's hernia. This is the obstructed loop of intestine within the peritoneal cavity. This is the peritoneum and this is the hernial sac. Classification. Depending on its site, a hernia may be reducible, irreducible, obstructed, strangulated, and inflamed. Reducible hernia. When a hernia reduces itself as the patient lies down or can be reduced by the patient or the surgeon, then it is called a reducible hernia. Two characteristic features of this hernia are its reducibility and the impulse on coughing. Irreducible hernia. When the contents of the hernia cannot be returned back to the abdomen, then it is called an irreducible hernia. Causes: adhesions of its contents to each other and with the sac. So in this picture, we can see that these are the adhesions between the sac and the loop of the intestine. Narrowing of the neck of the sac due to fibrosis following continued use of truss. Presence of omentum in the sac. When the content in the large intestine becomes obstructed, and massive hernia inside the scrotum. It should be noted that femoral and umbilical herniae are irreducible. Irreducible hernia is dangerous and it may lead to strangulation. Obstructed hernia. It means that the hernia is associated with intestinal obstruction due to occlusion of the lumen of the bowel. Features. Expansile coughing impulse is not present. There is no complaint of pain. Hernia is lax and tender. Features of intestinal obstructions are present. Strangulated hernia. A hernia is said to be strangulated when the blood supply of its contents is impaired. Ultimately, the content becomes gangrenous. The strangulated hernia develops when the neck of the sac is very much constricted. In this picture, we can clearly see that the neck of the sac is really very constricted. This is the loop of the small bowel which is strangulated, and this is the dilated proximal bowel. Inflamed hernia. When a hernia becomes inflamed, it is called inflamed hernia. Inflammation can occur from outside or from inside. On examination, the overlying skin is red and edematous. The hernia is painful, swollen, and tender. This hernia is not tense and is not associated with intestinal obstruction. There are two types of herniae, external herniae and rare herniae. So the external herniae are inguinal hernia, femoral hernia, umbilical hernia, and incisional hernia. These are the most common types of herniae. Inguinal hernia. An inguinal hernia is the protrusion of a part of the contents of the abdomen through the inguinal region of the abdominal wall. There are two types of inguinal herniae, direct inguinal hernia and indirect inguinal hernia. So here is the difference between direct and indirect inguinal hernia. With respect to position, half of the cases of direct inguinal hernia are bilateral. 2/3 of the cases of indirect inguinal hernia are unilateral, while 1/3 cases are bilateral. With respect to appearance, direct inguinal hernia appears as a forward bulge. Indirect inguinal hernia descends obliquely, downwards, and medially. Reducibility. Direct inguinal hernia reduces when the patient lies down. Indirect inguinal hernia does not reduce by itself. Impulse on coughing. In direct inguinal hernia, the impulse is felt on the middle finger. In indirect inguinal hernia, impulse is felt on the index finger. Invagination test. In direct inguinal hernia, the impulse is felt on the pulp of the little finger. In indirect inguinal hernia, impulse is felt on the tip of the little finger. Ring occlusion test. In direct inguinal hernia, the hernia bulges out, while in indirect inguinal hernia, it does not bulge out. Local examination of inguinal hernia. The most common position to examine inguinal hernia is in the standing position. So first is position and extent. The inguinal hernia is positioned above the inguinal ligament and medial to the pubic tubercle. Second is to get above the swelling. The root of the scrotum is held between the thumb in front and other fingers behind to reach above the swelling. In case of inguinal hernia, one cannot get above the swelling. In case of hydrocele, it is possible to get above the swelling. So this test turns out to be positive. Consistency. In case of omentum, it feels doughy and granular. In case of intestine, it is elastic. And in case of strangulated hernia, it is tense and tender. Impulse on coughing. An expansile impulse is felt on coughing as the contents of the hernia will be forced out through the superficial inguinal ring and will separate the thumb from the index finger. It should be noted that strangulated hernia shows no impulse on coughing. Reducibility. When the hernia reduces on its own, then it is direct hernia. When the hernia has to be reduced, then it is indirect hernia. Invagination test. So to perform the invagination test, invaginate the skin from the bottom of the scrotum as shown in the picture. The little finger is gradually pushed up and then rotated to enter the superficial inguinal ring. So when the patient coughs, the examining finger will be squeezed and the invagination test turns out to be positive. Ring occlusion test. To perform the ring occlusion test, a thumb is pressed on the deep inguinal ring half inch above the mid-inguinal point. A direct hernia shows a bulge on coughing, while indirect hernia shows no bulge. Femoral hernia. In femoral hernia, the contents pass through the femoral ring, traverses the femoral canal, and comes out through the saphenous opening. Symptoms: pain is lesser as compared to inguinal hernia, and a small globular swelling is situated below and lateral to the pubic tubercle, as it is shown in the picture. Umbilical hernia. There are three types of umbilical herniae: exomphalos, umbilical hernia in children, and paraumbilical hernia. Symptoms: in case of adults, pain and swelling gets worse by prolonged standing and heavy exercise, while in case of infants, pain is not felt. Incisional hernia. It occurs through an acquired scar in the abdominal wall caused by previous surgical operation. Common symptoms are swelling and pain. Sometimes there is abdominal colic, vomiting, constipation, and distension of the abdomen. The incisional hernia also becomes incarcerated. It becomes strangulated. The bulge remains even when the patient is lying down. It is very large and continues to grow over time. It is cosmetically unappealing. It causes pain. Rare hernia. The rare herniae are epigastric hernia, lumbar hernia, Spigelian hernia, obturator hernia, and gluteal hernia. Risk factors of hernia: obesity, constipation, heavy weight lifting, congenital defect, chronic cough, damage from injury or surgery, muscle weakness, smoking, pregnancy. These are the commonest risk factors of hernia. Treatment of hernia. The treatment of hernia is usually surgical. So first procedure is herniotomy. Herniotomy is defined as the operation of cutting through a band of tissue constricting a strangulated hernia. Second procedure is herniorrhaphy. Herniorrhaphy is defined as an operation that involves opening the hernial sac, returning the contents to their normal place, obliterating the sac, and closing the opening with strong sutures. Third procedure is hernioplasty. Hernioplasty is a type of hernia repair surgery where a mesh patch is sewn over the weakened region of the tissue. Now comes the post-operative care. So first is to prevent the wound from getting infected. Second is to avoid lifting heavy weights within 3 months after herniorrhaphy. And the last is persistent coughing, urethral obstruction, and straining defecation can also cause further complications. Here the video ends.